Resign if you disagree. Oliver confronts Defense Sec over male fitness purge. That night, it wasn't bombs falling or a natural disaster that shook America, but a cold political decision. On the black screen, blood-red letters froze in place. Cleanse or security. A warning of the clash about to unfold. A solemn voiceover hurled the audience into the storm. On the 30th of September 2025, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth declared the end of all DEI programs, restoring the U.S. military to male-based physical standards. His challenge: if you don't agree, you can resign. That statement turned the stage of Last Week Tonight into a gladiatorial arena. The studio held its breath. Silence pressed down like iron. Oliver struck first, calling the new standards a secret pre-selection contest, since the yardstick was set at the male body. Hegseth cut him off, slamming his hand on the desk. The mission isn't to please anyone, John. The mission is to win wars. From then on, they weren't debating terminology. They were wrestling over the right to define strength. Oliver jabbed with logic. Cyber warfare, joint command, rapid response. None of those require a maxed-out deadlift. If battles were decided by biceps, Sparta would still rule. Hegseth fired back, voice like iron. Intellect is necessary, I agree. But intellect doesn't replace endurance when carrying a wounded soldier. It doesn't replace speed in an assault. It doesn't replace strength when the gate collapses. The clash escalated when Oliver accused the new rules of being a disguised political filter aimed at purging dissenting officers. Hegseth's reply was ice cold. A mirror isn't for admiration, it's for reflection. If you can't stand the light, you're free to leave the room. That night, the Last Week Tonight set was no longer a temple of laughter. It had transformed into a sterile courtroom where laws were written in words and stares. The lighting evoked a prison, a hospital, a laboratory spaces where every mistake is exposed. The camera moved slowly, avoiding punchlines. Instead, it lingered on faces. A woman frowned, hands clenched in her lap. An old veteran's eyes burned, as if waiting for a verdict of life or death. A young student's expression mixed fear and curiosity. The room was a mosaic of emotions, mirroring a divided, restless America outside, waiting for judgment. Behind Oliver, the massive LED screen blazed again. Cleanse or security? This wasn't entertainment. This was political theater. But the audience came to witness blood drawn by words, to see two men smash through rhetorical walls, and to hear the haunting question: what is truth and what is fear? Oliver stepped forward, no longer a jester, but a prosecutor. His opening cut with satire sharpened to steel. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we welcome a guest. A man who has decided the U.S. military needs less diversity, less inclusion, and more push-ups. Please welcome Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The applause was fractured, half cheers, half boos, colliding like waves breaking against each other. Whistles, claps, and shouts tangled into one storm of noise. Hegseth walked on stage in a dark suit. No smile, no search for approval. He carried himself like a soldier heading into combat. Broad-shouldered, steady-footed, eyes cold and straight. His handshake with Oliver was pure ceremony. The real battle was already underway. Oliver wasted no time. He raised the mic, eyes locked on Hegseth. Mr. Secretary, be clear. Are you saving the military or legalizing discrimination? The question rang like the opening bell of a boxing match. Hegseth leaned forward, narrowed his eyes, drew a breath, and spoke into the mic like steel pouring into a mold. John, I am not legalizing anything. I am saving the military. The military is not a social experiment. When I say male standard, that's not discrimination. It's proven performance. That's the gold standard. And the battlefield does not care about feelings. It only cares who's still standing after the fight. The studio shuddered. No laughter, no jeers, just silence before the storm. Oliver turned, revealing graphics of the new physical standards on the giant screen, numbers marching like iron battalions. His voice dropped. Gender-neutral standards sounds fair. But if the bar is set at the average male body, that's not neutrality. It's a secret pre-selection. The camera found a young female soldier in the audience. gripping her pack so tight, her silver ring tapped the buckle, a tiny ting echoing in the tense air. Hegseth cut in sharply, his hand pounding the desk in rhythm like a war drum. The mission isn't to satisfy anyone, John. The mission is to win wars. Oliver shot back. And to win wars, you believe we must remove everyone who doesn't fit the male mold? You call that elite. History calls it bias. Murmurs rippled through the audience. An old veteran pressed a hand to his chest, eyes wet, as if watching a sacred banner torn down. The fight shifted. The word strength itself was now under trial. Oliver recited examples like a lawyer reading evidence, electronic warfare, joint command, crisis management in urban chaos. These demand intellect, coordination, psychological discipline, not push-ups. Images of radios, digital maps, satellite feeds flashed behind him. If muscles alone won wars, Sparta would never have died. Hegseth's gaze locked on the lens, speaking beyond the studio. Don't confuse the issue. Intellect is vital, yes, but intellect does not replace endurance under fire or strength when carrying your brother out. It does not replace speed when breaching a door. Each does not replace landed like a nail hammered into the floor. Oliver lifted the tone. Does your test measure courage under fire? Does it measure the ability to tell truth from lies in an information war? Or does it only count push-ups? A ripple of nervous laughter died in the air. He pressed harder. Twice a year physical tests for everyone sounds like discipline. But paired with your call for officers to resign if they disagree, it becomes a disguised political purge. The word purge cracked the silence like glass breaking. Hegseth leaned in, hands clasped. The mirror is not for vanity, it's for truth. If you can't endure the light, you're free to leave. His answer was a blade wrapped in calm. Oliver shifted tactics. He told stories. A female medic in Helmand, binding wounds under fire. A recon leader steering his team around hidden IEDs. A cyber engineer stopping a major hack on port systems. None of them were chosen because they lifted the most weight. They were chosen because they didn't abandon their brothers. The screen dimmed to black and white. A heartbeat pulsed in the background. Hegseth straightened. And they would still pass the test. True elites don't fear the test. Inclusion is not lowering the bar, it's helping people clear it. The crowd stirred, torn between admiration and unease. Oliver pounced. And if the bar is misplaced, what does clearing it prove? Excellence or compliance? Red lights bled into the blue set danger ahead. Oliver pivoted. The president has signed an order creating a rapid response force for domestic unrest. Mr. Secretary, if you purge DEI, force out dissenters, then hold a domestic reaction force. Are you preparing for war abroad or campaigns in the streets? The weight of the question fell like iron. Hegseth, to protect the nation wherever security is threatened, even against our own citizens, even if riots threaten the lives of citizens. The clash of visions, national defense or domestic control, lit sparks across the room. Posters reading "Serve and Protect" wavered in the hands of audience members, the word protect twisting under the glare. The dam broke. One side leapt to their feet, clapping thunderously. The other booed with fury. Chairs banged, whistles shrieked, arguments erupted. Online, hashtags from the debate began trending in real time. Number, social experiment. Number, the purge. Number, male standard. The director cut frantically between cameras to contain the chaos. Finally, Oliver drove his indictment home. His voice cold as verdict. Mr. Secretary, you want an elite force. But instead of measuring what wins in the 21st century thinking, coordination, integrity, truth detection, you build a shrine to muscle and call it neutral. You speak of shining mirrors, but I see purge lists. You speak of security, but I hear the drumbeat of domestic power. He paused. Standards matter. But when standards become political weapons, they no longer measure ability. They only measure obedience. The phrase political weapon dropped like dry ice, fogging the room in silence. The LED screen blazed one final searing question. Fear or fact? The camera zoomed out slowly, the television set shrinking into a pinprick of light. The conflict, however, exploded outward. Audience members remained, still locked in argument, their hands flying, their faces reflecting the deep national schism. The debate was over, but the backdrops were tearing. By morning, the digital landscape had ignited. Clips from the showdown dominated every social feed. Cleanse or security? Male standards, resign if you disagree. Headlines across the nation split sharply. Some hailed the Defense Secretary's move as a return to discipline. Others warned of a dangerous, ideological rollback of history. The real-world consequences were immediate. At military bases, the gyms filled to capacity as service members frantically pursued the required standard. A collective scramble driven by fear and uncertainty. In strategy rooms, seasoned officers bent over maps, their focus shifting internally to the question, what standard measures the right decision under pressure? The tension seeped into every corner. Veterans' forums filled with emotional memories of fallen comrades who were never measured by push-ups. And within the Pentagon, the quiet bureaucracy began the painful process of rewriting the organization. Inboxes filled with silent emails, resignations, transfers, and pleas to stay. After just one night of television, Americans suddenly understood that the debate was about defining what kind of nation the uniform serves. The lingering question hung in the air. Was this the forging of a stronger force, or the breaking of a social contract? After one night of television, America realized DEI wasn't just letters. It was the question, who are we when we wear the same uniform? The screen faded to black. No fiery graphics, just thin white letters. Cleanse or security. And the closing words. If standards are fences, place them where they measure worth not, where they conceal a purge. If security is the goal, ask, security for whom, by what standard, and to what end? Leave your view in the comments below. Is this a purge cleanse, or is it an essential act of national security? If you've served, are currently serving, or have family in uniform, please share the stories of bravery and competence that no physical test can ever measure. Don't forget to like and share this video to spread this critical and highly charged debate. And finally, subscribe to the Epic TV Showdowns channel so you don't miss our future episodes, where we continue to dissect the decisions shaping not just the battlefield, but the very soul of a nation.